Hi folks, it's Friday, August 30th, and the summer transfer window has officially closed, so we thought we would bring you a mini episode here of Always Bayern Chelsea and talk about the latest transfers, what happened, what didn't happen for both Bayern Munich and Chelsea, as well as some recent news with the clubs. So let's get started here with a little recording from Jim talking about Chelsea.
This is the Chelsea portion of a mini episode of Always Bayern Chelsea. I mentioned I would probably be recording this on Friday or Saturday. It is now Friday, and the English transfer window has officially closed. Fabrizio is done tweeting for the time being. There could still be some things that trickle in, but I wanted to get on here and give my thoughts on what Chelsea did in the last few days of this window and talk a little bit about the Servette match. And I'll start with that Servette match. I had my mini reaction about 40 seconds long. My ultimate opinion was that I don't care too much how Chelsea performed because they're through to the main part of the Europa Conference League. That's something to be happy about. It's something that we wanted to expect and have come easy to us, and it didn't. But that's okay because at this point, Chelsea still are in the competition, and with all these players that we have, we need a lot of games to be able to use these guys and get them the minutes that they deserve. So this match, not a ton happening. Chelsea lose 2-1. The first half, I thought Chelsea dominated. They looked great the first 30 minutes. They generated some chances, completely dominated possession, and they took the lead on a pen. And that pen was drawn by Misha Mudryk. Frankly, it was pure hustle on his end to get toward the ball, kind of caught the defender off guard a little bit. Great to see from him. And Nkunku puts it away in the same fashion he did in the first leg. It's an impossible penalty to save. He could go that direction every single time, and the keeper could dive there every time, and it would still go in. So unreal stuff from him. Great to have him and Cole Palmer being able to take penalties in that fashion. The rest of the match, poor defending. Chelsea did not defend well. I'm a little concerned about the defending at this time on the season. Some of the center backs are brutally poor. I know they're not our A class of defenders, and I'm talking about Axel Disasi and Benoit Badiashile, but they have to do better. Tosin did a little bit better, and Vega I like, but the two Frenchmen, come on guys. This is a game against a team worse than what you were used to in Ligue 1. So what are you doing at this point? Just letting them waltz all over you? And that's what happened on that first goal for Servette. And I hate to just pile on here, but Dewsbury Hall, are you awake to start the season? I mean, I thought Palmer wasn't awake and then he popped off, but KDH, you have not shown me anything. You can't pass the ball, you're slow, you don't provide pressing in an effective fashion. I just don't get him right now. Noni, Guiu, I thought they looked okay. Christo had some good link-up play. Enzo did some things that were all right. I think the pitch was so terrible that I'll leave that as a bit of an excuse for Chelsea just because they're used to pristine pitches. That is a factor, whether you like it or not. Overall, second half, I didn't really see much. Chelsea give up a poor header. I thought Jorgensen could have done more on that to keep it out of the back of the net. Palmer should put a chance away late. Jackson coming on looked good as well with Palmer. Should have scored. You can't be offside there, Nico. He's got to learn. He's got to learn. Just as Misha needs to learn how to finish, Jackson needs to learn how to stay onside. It's crazy. In terms of my awards, I'll be brief here. My Batman is Christo for the only goal. My Robin, Vega. Vega just gets the call up to the Portuguese national team. Great for him. He's looked awesome. My Fireball is Mark Guiu. Always fighting, always pressing. Love him a ton. He might stick around now with no Osimhen, which I'll talk about. My bad day at the office, those French center backs. You got to do better, guys. And the moment of the match, who gives a damn? I don't even have one. Looking ahead, though, to the weekend, Chelsea do play Crystal Palace on Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. Central Time here in the Midwest. I need Chelsea to do better with our London derbies this year. They're exciting. Crystal Palace was a decent team last year. They've lost a few pieces. They've looked terrible to start this year. Chelsea need to step on their throat, pretend it's the second half against Wolves, set the tone, and be aggressive. I really want to see some of these guys come out strong. I want to see some goals, some action. Hopefully we see some of that Portuguese connection once again, and maybe that'll even include Vega. Who knows? But I'm excited to watch this match. I think it's going to be really exciting, and hopefully Chelsea can come out strong and win. My early prediction was 3-0 to Chelsea. I don't know if that'll change based on the fact that Chelsea looked worse against Servette. We'll see. I might release that at some point Saturday with my official prediction. So guys, now I'm going to talk about what happened in these last few days of the transfer window. It wasn't quite as exciting as maybe we thought it would be. I was actually playing soccer. I was on the pitch with Danny as the window was closing. It was a great way to get out some aggression and stress with worrying about the transfer window. Some things did happen for Chelsea. Brought some guys in, some guys left, and I'll go through them. Lukaku officially off to Napoli, as we know, a few days ago. Osimhen not coming to Chelsea the other way. It was something that I expected to happen, and by that I mean I expected him to be a Chelsea player. So I was pretty surprised that this didn't happen. Sounds like we weren't willing to give him the wages he was looking for, which I'm okay with. Chalobah goes on a season-long loan to Crystal Palace. Happy for him. I'd rather have him than Disasi, but it is what it is at this point. Sterling, it sounds like, will be a loan in Arsenal. So this is a huge one. You know, we're bringing in another player, which I'll discuss here. So Sterling to go, that's great by me. He wasn't going to play, even if it sounds like we're paying part of his salary, fine by me. We're bringing in Jadon Sancho, loan obligation to buy from Man United. Now, this is interesting. A Chelsea boy at heart, I kind of like it. We just have all these attackers now, so it's crazy to me. But I watched some highlights of him. I like what he has. With no Osimhen, maybe there's some spot for him. I don't know. We'll see what happens. A lot of games to play. Chilwell did not go anywhere. Cesare Cassidy did not go. David Washington sounds like might be moving to Strasbourg. I wasn't able to check that one officially. It was kind of hot and cold with that one. We'll see what they have on that one. Angelo, I don't believe went anywhere. Petrovic loaned to Strasbourg. And Armando Broja looked like he was going to go to Ipswich. Sounded like that fell apart. Now possibly going to Everton. They slid in a deal sheet at the last second. So there's probably some negotiation going on behind the scenes there. Interesting to see how everything will fall into place as the hours tick by over in Europe. Tell you what, I had a great day looking at all the stuff happening. People were on live streams. Fabrizio was live and tweeting and being his normal self. It was an awesome day. I'm looking forward to this weekend and watching some soccer. I was watching the Strasbourg game today, the first half. Looks like they had a tough loss. They were up 3-1, lose 4-3. But it's so great that soccer's back, that football is back. I couldn't be happier. And as always, up the Chelsea.
All right, now it's time to talk about Bayern Munich and what they did in the summer transfer window. Unfortunately, Jim and I couldn't be together this weekend to sit down and give you this episode, but yeah, a little peek behind the curtain is I am photographing the Milwaukee Mile IndyCar race this weekend in the great city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So a little bit of a busier weekend, but I still wanted to hop on here and talk about some Bayern Munich transfers and news. So the long talked about squad overhaul that Bayern Munich, the board at Bayern Munich was talking about doing this summer clearly didn't happen. And honestly, I'm okay with that. I think that Bayern Munich kind of buffed up a few needs and a few areas where they were a little bit thin. However, we'll get to the outgoings for the summer transfer window, and that's where I have some more problems. But yeah, let's talk about those signings that Bayern brought in this summer. So first of all, we have Hiroki Ito from Stuttgart. Mentioned him before on the program, but he's a nice little utility player there in the back for their defense. Left-footed center backs who can also play left back. And unfortunately, he broke his foot, so we haven't really seen much of him yet this season. But I think he's going to provide some I guess I hope he's going to provide some stability to that back line because it's currently not looking so good. And then Bayern also signed João Palhinha from Fulham, who they almost completed a signing for last season, and is really somebody who the club has wanted for a while, who the fans have wanted for a while, that kind of holding six defensive midfielder style of play. I'm excited for him. Again, I hope he can kind of buff up that defense and that midfield a little bit. And then we got Michael Olise from Crystal Palace, who is a very special and very exciting winger, who is great with his left foot, but he usually plays on the right wing. We've talked a lot about him on the show, but just looking forward to see how he links up with that attack. And I guess we also got Joseph Stanisic as well as Ibrahimovic coming back from loan. So they are a couple of good players who Bayern had loaned out last season. Stanisic was on Leverkusen, providing a lot of those last-minute miracles there. Played a lot of right back for them, but maybe we'll see him even slide into the center back role for Bayern this season. He's also injured right now, which is a bummer. And then Ibrahimovic is a youngster. He's kind of an attacker who can look to provide some depth to that attack and some fresh blood, I guess, some young faces. So if we look at Bayern's transfer window based off of the incomings, I would say it was relatively successful. Maybe I'd give it an A- or something. I wasn't one of those folks who thought we really had to turn over everything. But we got some well-needed support, like I said, which is good, and I think that's going to show, especially Palhinha and Olise. I think they're going to show this season that they were good moves. But where things get a little bit dicey now is where we talk about the outgoings. Because while it's true that Bayern wanted to really overhaul a few positions, specifically the winger position, as well as I think the midfield, they didn't really do that, to be honest with you. We had some moves that you expected. Brian Zaragoza going to loan back to Spain. Vidovic is on loan in Germany. I think it's Mainz. And then Zvanarek is also on loan, I think, in Germany as well. But besides that, you had two big sales when it comes to the defense. Nusar Mizraoui and Matthijs de Ligt going to Manchester United, and that was a little bit of a bummer for me. I was of the opinion that, at this point, Bayern has to sell Alphonso Davies, and they didn't, because he is likely going to leave to Real Madrid next summer on a free, and honestly the last couple of years has looked pretty disinterested and not like he wants to give it his all or really look to improve his game, which is a bummer. And then when it comes to Matthijs de Ligt, I think I've beat the drum on this one enough so far on this program, but I'll beat a dead horse, I suppose. I was going to say one more time, but let's be honest, it won't be one more time because I'll probably talk about him throughout the year as we see the center back position on Bayern Munich currently in shambles. But de Ligt was our best center back. He was our best defender. He was our leader on the defense, our best communicator. And without him, things certainly look rough. Players look lost. Overall, I would maybe give this window a C or a C+, just because of those big name departures, like I mentioned, de Ligt and Mizraoui. De Ligt is somebody who you just can't replace. And speaking of replacing de Ligt, Bayern was looking at getting Jonathan Tah from Leverkusen. That didn't work out. I personally don't think he would have even been a de Ligt replacement, but maybe he would have helped fill some of that space. Either way, Tah is now walking with his tail between his legs back to Leverkusen to play out, I guess, at least half of the season. We'll see what happens in the winter with that. And then notably, Kingsley Coman decided to stay at Bayern Munich as well, as the club was trying to force him out. And then there's the case of Leon Goretzka, who, the club is also trying to force out and also is trying to stay and fight for his spot. So those are my overall thoughts on the transfer window, honestly, for Bayern Munich. The departures are kind of a bummer, namely de Ligt, but we got some good signings, and yeah, I'm just excited for the season. I'm ready for things to really get underway here. And speaking of, the Champions League draw just happened the other day as well, and I feel like I should end this by just running through Bayern's opponents for the Champions League. Overall, I think Bayern got a good draw, and I'm looking forward to watching those matches because that's the world's biggest stage, and those are an awful lot of fun. Apologies in advance for butchering some of these names because that's certainly going to happen. But to start with, we got Paris Saint-Germain at home. Bayern always seems to play them in the Champions League, and I think that's going to be, I don't know, it's a little bit more of a big-name matchup, and I think that's going to be a fun one, and I hope that Bayern can come away with a win there. And then also very interesting, we got Barcelona away. So that's probably my most anticipated matchup. You got Robert Lewandowski on Barcelona, the former Bayern striker, and you also have the former Bayern head coach, Hansi Flick, who won every trophy you can possibly win with Bayern Munich. So that one is going to be good. Just grab your popcorn for that one. And then we got Benfica at home, which is another, I guess, semi-high profile, maybe a more well-known club, which will be cool to see. And then we have the Ukrainian side away, Shakhtar Donetsk. I don't know anything about a lot of these teams, to be honest with you, and especially how to pronounce their names, so apologies there. We have Dinamo Zagreb at home, which is a Croatian side. We have Feyenoord away. They're a Dutch side. And then we have Slovan Bratislava away. They are, at home. They are a Slovakia team. And finally, we have Aston Villa away. And that one is going to be one of the more interesting matchups as well, I think. They could be a sleeper team that Bayern might have some trouble with. But either way, Vincent Kompany's side is going to be tested, and I think Vincent Kompany's tactics and coaching style is going to be kind of put under some pressure under the bright lights here. And I'm mostly just looking forward to see what Bayern can do. The Champions League final, long ways away, is in Germany this year, so that would be a special one if Bayern can go the distance in that competition. But yeah, with this new format, there are a lot of matches, and we're going to see some stuff that we've never seen before, so I'm interested to see how it's going to go down. And I think that'll about wrap things up for me here today. Once again, thanks for listening. As always, just a mini episode to keep you caught up here as things turn, as always, in the soccer world. Check us out on YouTube. We got some short content, and if you want to listen to the other episodes, podcasting platforms as well, and Twitter, we're going to be keeping you up to date with all the news and all the latest matches. So I'm looking forward to this weekend's matches. Bayern plays Freiburg, so that'll be a good one. Like I said, just stay tuned, and we'll keep you updated. Mia san mia.